The theater was buzzing with its usual energy, camera lights glowing, judges chatting casually, and the audience murmuring with anticipation. But everything shifted the moment a young Filipino woman walked slowly onto the America's Got Talent stage. She didn't wear a flashy dress or dramatic makeup. Instead, she appeared humble, almost fragile, dressed simply, her hands clasped together as if holding onto something unseen. There was a stillness about her, a silence that demanded attention. When asked her name, her voice trembled slightly, not from fear, but from emotion held back for far too long. She spoke about growing up in a small town in the Philippines, raised in poverty, where faith was not a choice but a lifeline. Music, she said, came from church, long nights of prayer, worship songs echoing through wooden walls, and a mother who sang hymns while cooking meals they sometimes barely had enough to eat. As she spoke, the audience leaned in. Simon Cowell watched closely, arms crossed, skeptical but curious. This wasn't just another singer chasing fame. This felt different. This felt real. When the judges asked what she would sing, she paused, then softly replied that it was a Christian worship song, one that had carried her through her darkest nights. A ripple of surprise moved through the crowd. Christian songs weren't common choices on AGT's massive stage. Simon raised an eyebrow. It was a risk, huge, personal, and vulnerable. As the music began, the stage lights dimmed, leaving a soft glow around her. The first note escaped her lips like a prayer. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was gentle, pure, and heartbreakingly sincere. Her voice carried a quiet strength, each lyric filled with belief, pain, and hope. The audience grew silent. No whispers, no movement, just breath held in unison. With every verse, her voice grew stronger, rising not to impress, but to testify. This wasn't a performance. This was worship. Cameras caught audience members wiping tears, judges leaning forward, completely absorbed. Even Simon's expression changed, his skepticism slowly melting into stunned attention. As the song reached its second verse, the emotion deepened. Her voice cracked, not from weakness, but from truth. She sang about surrender, about trusting God when nothing else makes sense. Flashbacks played on the screen behind her. Images of her village, her family, her church, her journey. The lyrics mirrored her life, loss, sacrifice, unanswered prayers, and unshakable faith. At one point, she closed her eyes, lifting her face upward as if singing directly to heaven. The sound that followed was breathtaking, a powerful, controlled note that echoed through the theater, filling every corner with raw emotion. The audience gasped. Heidi Klum covered her mouth. Sofia Vergara's eyes were full of tears. Howie Mandel whispered, "Wow." And Simon Cowell, the man known for crushing dreams, sat frozen, his jaw slightly clenched, eyes locked on the stage. The song wasn't asking for approval. It wasn't begging for votes. It was declaring belief, and that honesty hit harder than any technical perfection ever could. As the final chorus approached, the music swelled, but she didn't overpower it. Instead, she softened, letting silence work alongside her voice. The lyrics spoke of grace, redemption, and never being alone, even in suffering. Tears streamed down her face, but she didn't stop. She sang through them, every word trembling with conviction. The audience began to cry openly. Some held hands. Others bowed their heads. It felt like church, like prayer, like something sacred unfolding on a mainstream stage that rarely pauses for stillness. When she hit the final note, she held it, not loud, but steady, then gently let it fade into silence. For a moment, no one clapped. Not because they didn't want to, but because no one wanted to break the moment. The silence was heavy, holy. Then the theater erupted. A standing ovation. People screaming, crying, applauding through tears. The Filipina singer stood there, hands shaking, overwhelmed, whispering "Thank you, Lord" under her breath. When the applause finally softened, Simon Cowell spoke, and the room fell silent again. He didn't joke. He didn't criticize. He took a deep breath and admitted that he hadn't expected that at all. He said that choosing a Christian song on a stage like AGT was incredibly risky, but it was also incredibly brave. What shocked everyone most was when Simon's voice cracked slightly. He said he felt something real, something honest, something that went beyond competition. That wasn't about winning, he said. That was about belief. He confessed that moments like this were the reason the show existed. Heidi praised her purity. Sophia called her voice a gift from God. Howie said it was one of the most emotional performances he'd ever witnessed. The singer listened, crying openly now, her dream unfolding before her eyes. She hadn't come to prove she was the best singer. She came to share her faith, and somehow, that had changed everything. As she left the stage, the crowd continued cheering, many still wiping tears. Backstage, she fell to her knees in gratitude, overwhelmed by what had just happened. That night, her performance spread across the world. Millions watched it online. People of all backgrounds, beliefs, and cultures, moved by the raw honesty of a young Filipino woman who sang not for fame, but for faith. Comments poured in. I'm not religious, but this made me cry. This healed something in me. This is why music exists. Her audition wasn't just another viral clip. It became a testimony, a reminder that sincerity can still stop the world. On a stage built for spectacle, she chose truth. And in doing so, she didn't just shock Simon Cowell. She touched millions of hearts and reminded everyone that sometimes the most powerful song isn't the loudest one. It's the one sung straight from the soul.